For today's video of the flower coaster, we are going to need 3 different kinds of yarns. The first 2 are going to be a weight of 4, and I have this cream color that's going to be for the actual coaster part. If you are choosing to make it bigger, your blanket part then. You can use full white, you can even use tan, whatever color, because it's going to replicate the wrapping of the flower bouquet, say, okay? But I'm using the cream like I said. And then you are going to need a green color for your leaves, and that's also weight 4. And then you are going to need a separate color for your flowers. Today I'm using this Hobby Lobby bamboo, and it's in a shade rose. This is going to need to be a weight 3, okay? So get that together, and then you're also going to need scissors and a darning needle, and then 2 different size hooks, again for the blanket or coaster part. And then for the leaves, you're going to need a bigger size hook, so I have a 5.5 millimeter. And then for your flowers, you're going to need a smaller size hook, and I have a 4.5 millimeter. So get those supplies together and we will get started on either the flower crocheted coaster, which I'm going to do just for the purpose of the video, or else if you are going to make your coaster into a bigger size for a blanket. You can also even use them for placemats. Placemats on a table would look really beautiful as well. So gather your supplies and we'll get started. Alright, so let's start our project here with a slip knot. And then we are just going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then into our first stitch, we are just going to slip stitch. So bring that on through to make your ring. Okay. Now, after you do that, we're going to chain 2. So 1 and 2. And then into this ring, we are going to want to make a double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull out that yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the next 2. That's a double crochet. Okay, and another double crochet, yarn over, pull up that yarn, go through the first 2 and the next 2. That was 2. So we're going to want to keep doing this until we have a total of 12 double crochet into our ring. Okay, so finish that up, making a total of 12 double crochet, and meet me back here. Okay, so I just got done doing my 12, and now we are just going to slip stitch onto the top of that first double crochet to connect that ring. Alright, so now that we slip stitch to connect, we are just going to, for our second round, start with a chain 2. So 1 and 2. And then we are going to make 2 double crochet into that same stitch. So right where we just put our slip stitch, we are going to just add in 2 double crochet right there. So that's 1 and then 2. And then we are going to chain 1, and into our next we are going to put 2 double crochet right above that last double crochet we did. So 1 and 2 into that chain space. And chain 1. Next chain space there, we're going to put 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2. And then chain 1. So you're going to want to repeat this all the way around. On those chain spaces, you're going to put 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, and then you're going to chain 1 after every 2 double crochet. Okay, so do that around and we'll come back. Okay, so I just got done doing that row, and you're gonna have, let me pull out my yarn here, you're gonna have a total of 12 two double crochets. Okay, so here you can see 1, 2, 3, so 12 sets of those 2 double crochets around. Okay, that's how you know if you're on the right track so far. So let's close out our round 2 here. So you look for, you ignore these chains here and you slip stitch into that first top of that double crochet that we did. Okay, so now for row 3, we are going to chain 2, so 1 and 2, and we're going to put 1 double crochet right into that space. Okay. Okay, so we are increasing this round. So now into the next stitch, we are going to put 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2 into that same space. And then we're going to chain 1. Okay. So now we're above the chain 1 from the previous round. You just ignore that and we work into that next first chain, top chain of that double crochet of the previous row. So we're going to put 1 double crochet right into the top of that last one. So that's 1. And then into the next chain space, we're going to put 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2 into that same space. And then chain 1. We're above the chain space of the lower level, we'll call it. So double crochet, put 1 double crochet into that next space, which is again right above the first double crochet from the previous round. And then into the next space, we're going to put 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2 right into that same space and chain 1. We're going to want to do this all the way around. So as you see here, now it's creating sets of 3 double crochet with a chain 1 space in between. Previous round, we had 2 double crochet with 1 chain space in between. Okay, so finish that round and we'll meet back here at the end of row 3. Okay, so I got to the end of my 4th row here. I'm sorry, 3rd row. We're about to start the 4th. And as you see here, we still again have the 12 sections here with the separation of 1 chain. So 12 sets with the separation of 1 chain in between all of them. So that's how it's going to continue. Now let's slip stitch into that first top chain of our first double crochet to close out this 3rd row here. And so now you can do this however you want. Like I said in the beginning of the video, to make it a coaster if you want, you could possibly finish on this round, maybe do a 4th one if that's how you like it. If you want to make placemats for your dining room table, like I said, it's probably about a 12 inch to 15 inch is how I would do it for a placemat. And then for a blanket, you can make it for a lap blanket, baby blanket, a full length throw if you'd like. So you just go how many rows you are comfortable with, whatever you're going to create with this, okay? So it should be round and flat like this. If it is bubbled up or rippling at all, go back. You probably added an extra chain somewhere of double crochet. And so now I will show you how to start the 4th row if you are wanting to continue on. So from here on out, everything is a repeat. Okay, so at the beginning of the row, you're going to chain your 2. And then on top of that first previous round double crochet, you are going to place 1 double crochet. And into the next, place another double crochet. And now we are at our 3rd from the previous round. So double crochet there and increase with another double crochet into that same stitch. And don't forget to chain your 1 after each set or section of your double crochets, okay? We're above the chain 1 from the previous round, so we skip that, just ignore it. And into the top stitch of that first double crochet from the previous round, place your double crochet. Into the next, place a double crochet. And the next one, you are going to place 2 because we are making that increase, okay? So 1 and 2 into the same stitch for a total of 4. And then chain your 1, which is nice because that keeps you on track of remembering what row you're on as well. So if we're in the row of making 4 double crochet here, 3, and then the additional 1 at the end to equal your 4, that means you are on the 4th row. So that's kind of neat that you can keep track that way. So just keep doing this around, like I said, until you have the size that you want for what you're making, and then meet me back here, okay? And we'll close off the end round. And I'm just making this a coaster for the video, like I said, and we will start on our leaves then, okay? Okay, so I just finished that set. And again, we should have 12 sets of 4 with the chain 1 space in between all of those, okay? So after I did my last one and chained 1, we are going to find the top of that first chain space of the double crochet and just slip stitch that to close it out. And like I said, you can go around as many times as you want. That's where I'm going to stop for the intentions of this video for a coaster though. And then we just bring in our green here, and we are going to use that now for making our leaves of our start of our flowers. Okay, so this is for the leaves, and we are going to use the same size hook, and let's get started on that part. Okay, so I got my green, and I'm going to just make a slip knot, put that onto my hook, and then I just start anywhere on my project, but into the top of a first double crochet is where we're going to want to go, but we can go anywhere on the project, okay? And all I'm going to do is slip stitch that to connect it, to join it onto our project, like so. Okay, and then we are going to want to chain 1 just to get some height onto there. Let me get this piece of yarn to the back. All right, so after our chain 1, we are just going to single crochet into that same stitch that we just connected our project with. Okay, so single crochet. And then we're going to want to chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, after we have our chain 3, we are going to skip 2. So skip 1 and 2. And into that third one, we are going to single crochet just 1. And then we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to skip 2 again. So 1 and 2, and into that third chain, you are going to place another single crochet. Okay. After you do that 1 single crochet, you are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, skip 2, 1, and 2, and into the third, you are going to place a single crochet. And you're just going to do this all the way around until you've reached the end, and then we'll start the petal part. Okay, so I'm at the end of mine here, and all we're going to do is slip stitch into the chain space here that we created. Okay, so that big old hole right there. Just slip stitch into that to connect all that, okay? Now, what we're going to do is very repetitive. We're going to be working into these chain spaces that we made, okay, to make our petals. So how we're going to start this is we are going to make a single crochet, one single crochet into that space, and then we are going to do one double crochet into that space. Okay. Then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to go back into that first chain that we just created and make a slip stitch. Okay. Then after we do that, we are going to make a double crochet into that same space still. And then we're going to end it with a single crochet. So there you have your first petal of your leaf. And we're going to do that into each one. So I'll do the next one with you as well. So you just jump right into it and make a single crochet. And then you're going to do a double crochet. Oops. Okay, after you do your double crochet, you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch into that first chain that you made. Like that. And then into that same space, make a double crochet. And then make a single crochet. Okay, so we got 2 of our petals done so far. So keep doing that into each one of those chain spaces like that. You make 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 4, and then into that first chain, you slip stitch, and then make a double crochet and a single crochet all the way around your project, okay? Okay, so I went all the way around with my petals, and after we finish that, all we're going to do is go into this first chain here, that first single crochet of the next petal, and slip stitch that to join and end that round. Just chain 1 and cut off your yarn and pull that on through. Let me get rid of this. And so that's what we have now, okay? So we made our leaves to go all the way around, and now we are going to start on our flowers. Okay, so this is where we drop down our hook size. So again, like I said, I have a 4.5 millimeter for the flower here. And then this yarn is a weight of 3, so that's a little bit thinner as well. So how we're going to start this is make a slip knot onto our hook. And we are going to chain 13. Okay, after you have 13 chain, what we're going to do is skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th chain, we're going to make 1 double crochet. So the ones that we skipped, these first 3 that we skipped, that kind of acts as a double crochet anyways, okay? So after you make your 1 double crochet into that one, you go right into the next one and you're going to put 2 double crochet. So that's 1 and 2 into the same chain space. Okay, and into the next one and all the way down the rest of the chain, we're going to be putting 3 double crochets into each one of these chains. So that's 1, 2, and 3 into the same space. Okay, so all the way down, finish all these chains with 3 double crochets in each one. Okay, so I just finished my row, and then I'm going to chain 1, cut off this yarn, but leave a long enough tail because we're going to want to attach this to our project, and pull that on through. And as you can see, it's already starting to coil on its own. So you're just going to want to play with it and get it coiled real nice to your liking here. Okay, like so. And let's get our project back out. And we attach our flowers in between our leaves. Okay, so as you can see there, there's a little spot to attach it to. So let's get our needle out. And first, what we're going to do is thread our yarn onto this needle, the long section that we just cut, not the short one. Once you got that longer end weaved through your needle, what I do is I take my flower and I just start weaving on through that flower so that this keeps its shape while it's being used, especially if it's going to be attached to a blanket. And just go on through so that you're going through all those layers of that flower. Okay, you want even that first center one to be nice and secure. Okay, so that's about it with that. I feel like that'll be nice and safe. And now I'm going to work on this top here, I think. And I just place my needle through that section in between the petals. And then I pull my yarn out. I'm going to attach this part as well now to my needle. And go right next to that. Okay, as you see here, I went through 2 different strands, so it's going to stay together. And now I just tie it onto there, onto the back section here. About 3 or 4 times I knot this, okay? Because again, a coaster is not going to be flung around as much as a blanket, but if you did choose to make this into a blanket, you want to make sure all these flowers are going to stay on here, okay? And so there's our first one attached. Okay, so you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and you place your flowers in between the petals like that, okay? Okay guys, so here it is, our done coaster with our floral arrangement bouquet. I also chained a long string of just simple chains, and then I tied that around my bouquet to keep it securely closed. But then when you want to use it, you just untie the chain and you have your coaster. So we got the flowers all the way around it now. And I think it turned out pretty cute. I do like the dusty rose color of the flowers that I made. But again, you can choose any colors for that. Just remember when you're doing the flowers to make it with a smaller yarn. So this is a weight of 3 that I used for the yarn of the flowers, and then a smaller hook size than the coaster pattern part, and then the greenery of the pattern, okay? It just keeps the flowers a little more tight and where you can still see the greenery of it, okay? So I hope you like this project. I am planning on making a jumbo size blanket of this for a birthday gift in the summer. So I will do an update video of that when I have it and show you guys how that one turned out as well, okay? So thank you. I hope you give it a try, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Thank you.